Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to this live event, Creative Teaching in Large Multi-Level Classes, brought to you by the Teaching English team in the Americas. We'll have hosts and presenters today from Brazil, that's me, Argentina, Peru, and Mexico. Today, we will be looking at how we can be creative while also maximizing focus, motivation, and learning in large classes. So, are you coming in? Please say hello in the chat. I can see a few of you already have. Tell us where you are joining from. I see someone from Sardinia, Sri Lanka, Sweden. Whoa, a lot of places. So, welcome everyone. Bem-vindos, as we say in Brazil, or bienvenidos for. Just a reminder for everyone, if you are in Zoom, you can use the chat for comments and use the Q&A for questions you might have for our presenters. If you are joining us from Facebook or YouTube, you can also say hi in the chat and post your questions in there as well. And today we continue exploring the professional practice of understanding your context. We will have two sessions, both looking at creativity and both with large multi-level classes in mind. So for everyone saying hello, I will ask you if you have large classes, if you can tell us how many students per classroom you have, so we can have an idea. We're about to start with our first session, which is engaging learners with hooks, breaks, and reflection with María Eugenia Ianiro. Welcome, María Eugenia. Before you start, I'm going to tell a little bit from our audience about you. María Eugenia Ianiro is a qualified English language teacher from Argentina with an MA in Professional Development for Language Education. She's an experienced presenter and teacher trainer, where she specializes in up-to-date methodologies and metacognition. María Eugenia also has a commitment to both social and academic growth for every learner. So thanks, everyone. Let's get started.
Hi everyone, how are you today? Thank you, Vanessa, for this presentation. Welcome to my session. This is Engaging Learners with Hooks, Breaks, and Reflection. My name is María Eugenia Ianiro, and if you have any question, any comment, don't hesitate and write it in the Zoom chat. So, are you ready? Can we start? Okay. This is the plan for this session. First, we are going to start with an introduction and an experiment. Then we are going to deal with motivational hooks. Then we are going to look at brain breaks. We are going to discuss some metacognitive strategies. And last but not least, we are going to finish the session with a conclusion and some final thoughts. So let's start. I want to start the session with your participation in the Zoom chat. So how long do you think it takes before students start losing focus in class? Let's answer in the chat. 5 minutes, says Sanil. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it depends. Oh, so many comments, 10, 15, 20, 30, it depends on the age. Okay, well, I want to tell you that the time depends, but generally research says that it takes 10 to 15 minutes. So now, with this idea, let's continue. This is another important piece of information that we want to bear in mind. We have to bear in mind. The average brain generates thoughts is 48.6, 49 more or less, thoughts per minute. So look at this, more than 70,000 thoughts per day. So this really is something that we need to bear in mind when we plan our lessons. So let's continue. So the question is, how do we make sure that what we teach doesn't just pass by and actually stays with our students, shapes them, and matters? So what do you think? How can we be sure? So I want to start with this tiny experiment. Okay, sorry, I'm reading the chat. Yes, math techniques, okay, projects, engaging in the activities. Okay, so these are some of the things we are going to discuss today. So let's try a tiny experiment. I want you to tell me in the chat, what do these animals have in common? Let's see. Domestic, farm, the color, okay, some of them. They are farm animals, they are pet animals. Farm animals, so many comments. They have 4 legs, okay. Okay, they are edible, mouth, okay. Herbivores, very good. They have eyes, they have 4 legs, very good. And okay, what about if I asked you to think about what else could they possibly have in common? So take some seconds, take a pause, and think about what else could they have in common. Visual range, sorry. They have meat, okay. They have heart, the food, the living things, they look, body appearance, they eat vegetables, okay, this is okay. Oh, I see more answers. They're using from grasses, okay, we can eat them, they make sounds, they are useful, very good, they are food, okay. Okay, they eat grass. Thank you for your answers. And now, for example, one of your answers could be that they all appear in the nursery rhyme, Old MacDonald Have a Farm. But the point is not the answer itself. The point is what you have done to think about more about the animals. So now I wanted to reflect. Take some seconds and reflect. What happened? Oh, sorry. What happened to your thinking during those 10 seconds that you thought about what else they could possibly have in common? So I want you to share the answers in the chat. Okay, you made associations, very good. Okay, it was new information, stimulation, it was refreshed, very good. Alexandra says that she was focused, it worked creatively, okay. Our attention was on the 4 animals, very good. We activated neuroplasticity, says Alejandra, okay. Oh, there are so many messages, thank you for your participation. Process of thinking, think deeper, okay. Very good. Critical thinking, connection, focus, deeper thinking, deep thinking. Okay, rethinking, very good. You needed attention, says Pauline. Very good. Deep thinking. Okay, imagination. Okay, very good. All your answers are okay. So, have you noticed how your brain reacted when we changed the instruction? Can you tell me this in the chat? Okay, definitely. Yes. Okay. Yes. So you completely agree. Okay. Thank you. Very good. Thank you for your participation. Okay. Okay. So this is what we do. Yes, in this activity. First, I shared with you a hook. Yes, and this was the first question. Then I asked you to take some seconds and I presented another question. So we have this pause. And then after that, in the last activity, you had to reflect. So this is what we are going to do today. We are going to do how we can create meaningful learning for our students with these 3 activities, with hooks, with pauses, and with reflection. So this is what I propose. We need the hook, we need the hook because we need to grab students' attention. Then we need the pause because we need to have energy in our students. And last but not least, we need to reflect to make learning stick. Yes? So this is what we are going to do. And the thing is, what do I propose? How we are going to make this learning stick with our students? Well, we are going to use motivational hooks, we are going to use brain breaks, and we are going to deal with metacognitive activities. So this is what we are going to discuss in this webinar. Okay, so the first question is, what are motivational hooks? Probably you know, because you are teachers or you are teachers to be, so you know what motivational hooks are. But I can tell you that motivational hooks are short. They are purposeful strategies at the beginning of the lesson generally, and they have the purpose of grabbing students' attention, to wake up the brain, and then to connect learners emotionally or cognitively to what comes next. We can say that they are like a mental warm-up that prepares the brain to learn. Something that it's important, and I think that we need to bear this into account, is that the motivational hook needs to be an activity, a strategy, anything that we prepare, that we think for our classes, that can be answered by any student we have in the class. And no answer needs to be correct or incorrect. So let's see now, why do those hooks matter? Well, they matter because our brains are constantly filtering information. That the brain decides what to focus on. If something sparks curiosity, surprises us, or connects to what we care about, our brains prioritize it. Some research, some authors say, for example, Haiti in 2009 and 2012 says that student engagement in the first few minutes significantly influences how much learning sticks. Then Willis in 2006 says that when learning is linked to curiosity or emotional interest, the amygdala signals the brain to store it more deeply. And last but not least, Paivio in 2014 says that when we combine visual and verbal input, this really enhances cognitive processes and retention. So, I propose to use motivational hooks. I'm going to share some examples that you can easily adapt and use with your students. I divided them for young learners and some motivational hooks for adolescents. But to tell you the truth, you can use any of them and you can really adapt them to your context. So let's start with some ideas with motivational hooks for young learners. Okay, first of all, you can work with a mystery bag. So you can bring a small bag, but it's not necessary to have a bag. You can have, for example, a box like this one, and you can put something. Or you can have a mini box like this one, something that you have at home, yes? So inside this object, you pull out the object related to the topic. So it can be an animal, if you're going to tell students a story, or if you are going to work with animals in the class, it can be a calculator. If you're going to work with a clear class related to math, or it can be anything. But the thing is that you need to activate schemata and you need to make students the reason to be in your class and to be motivated for the class. And young learners, we know that they like creative lessons and they like guessing. So this is really motivated for them. So another activity is to start the class with a riddle or a simple question. Look at this. What has hands but can clap? The answer is the clock. So probably here you're going to start teaching them the time, how to tell the time, or probably you're going to work with routines. Yes, so this riddle needs to be related to the topic you're going to work in the class. Or you also can have simple questions. Look at this question. Do you eat pancakes with ketchup? Yes, so there's no correct or incorrect answer. Yes, and they like saying what they really eat or what they really like. Yeah, so, okay. Very young learners like movement, yes, and they need to move. So, for example, you can start with quick actions. So, I don't know, oh, sorry. You can start with quick actions. For example, stand up if you have a pet. Stand up, and then you continue. Stand up if you have a cat. Stand up if you have a grey cat. So they are really motivated to start to be in the class. Of course, this needs to be related to the topic of your class. For example, you can have clap if you like ice cream, clap if you like French fries, clap if you like, okay, and you continue. Yes, so this is something very short that you do at the very beginning of the lesson, and students are really motivated to continue being in the class. Okay. Now, let's work with some motivational hooks for teens. As I said before, you can implement these for with your students. It is not necessary that they need to be with teens. You can, of course, adjust these activities for young learners and even for adults. Yes? Okay. So this is something that it's really interesting because you can make polls or agree or disagree corners with your students. Look at this. Stand on the left if you think people learn best by reading, right if by doing, and then discuss with their partner. For example, if you have a group of adolescents who are probably deciding what university course of studies they are going to do in the future. So this can be an interesting poll that you are going to propose. And then they need to exchange ideas. Or, for example, is it better to be smart or kind? Stand on the left for smart, right for kind. And then they need to say why, not just the yes or no. They need to justify what they think. You know that teens and adolescents and adults, in fact, they are like building their identities, they are building their opinions. So it is interesting to foster these expression of opinions and exchange of ideas between them. Okay, let's continue. Something else that you can do with your students is to use memes or short reel clips. You know that they like this because this is really connected to them. They work with TikTok or Instagram reels continuously. They use them continuously in their lives. So you need to use it. So you can start with a meme or a funny 5-second clip that connects to the lesson. Look at this: past, present, future, continuous, perfect, my brain, 404, tense not found. Yes, so then you start with this and you present, and they have to tell you what the topic will be about. It's very interesting that you can do your own memes with okay, in this case I have the idea and I created the meme with Copilot, but there are some pages, some sites that you can use to create your own memes according to the topic that you need for the lesson. Okay. You can also use provocative statement, and this is really interesting for adolescents and for adults. For example, look at this: most people forget 70% of what they learn within 24 hours, and they need to say true or false, and then they need to find out the answer. They need to justify the answer too. Yes, so this is also interesting. You can, for example, you can give this and the answer can be optional, or you can give this and the answer is not optional. So half of the class needs to say true and the other half of the class needs to say false. So they need to think about how they are going to justify their opinion. Okay. Another thing that you can do to start the class with motivation is to use some visual guessing games. So, for example, you can use a blurred image like the one that you have here. So, what do you think the class will be about with the blurred image? What do you think? I want to see the answers in the chat. Let's see. Okay, London Eye. Okay, what topic related to London Eye? Amusement park, London Eye, cities, very good. Right, landmarks, very good. A giant wheel, love. What's the name of this giant wheel? And then you start the London Eye, and then you start with information and with the views, circus wheel, theme park. Okay, cities around the world. Tourism. Okay, thank you for your answers. And then you can also have this kind of zoom in picture and they have to guess. So what do you think about this? What will be the topic? In this case, they are connected, sorry. In this case, they are connected because this is part of the I, yes? So you can use just one, or you can use these two strategies combined together. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, give me a second. Okay, another thing, and this is my favorite, I need to tell you, we can work with emoji stories. So these are really interesting to pre-teach narrative tenses. Yes, so look at this. They have the emojis and they need to create the story. Any guesses? What do you think the story is about? This is very simple. Okay, this one is very interesting. Daily routine. Okay, what about the story? Who wants to tell me the story that it's here? Okay, they can be used to, okay, routines, daily routines. But what about the story? Who wants to give me the story? What is the story? Okay, it's about, oh, sorry, it was like too fast. Okay, I tried sleeping at home. Oh, the man went home and cooked. Okay, here in the comments in the chat, you can see that some of you made answered in the past, some answer in the present simple. Okay, good. Look at this. This is the answer. That is a possible answer. And a boy goes home, cooks, and then goes to sleep. Yes. So I have another for you, and this is related to teachers. So what about this? Let's see. Let's try. Here you have another, and this is very connected to us and to this particular moment. After they would, okay, okay. Okay, but you need to be able to construct the story. And this story is really related to us, to this seminar. So what can you say? I want to read the answer. Okay, connecting teachers all around the world for all around for okay, traveling and enjoying and exploring other cultures. Okay, let's see. The woman studies abroad. Okay, teaching international company. Okay, teachers from all over the world meet online to share knowledge, have coffee, and become better. Very good. And then you can change. For example, in my case, I have the mate ready because I'm from Argentina. I live in Buenos Aires, so mate is always with me. So in this case, you can have the mate here, and the story changes. Yes. Okay, so many answers. Traveling, working online, getting a brainstorm, jet lag, then having coffee to feel good. Very good. I love them. Great. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, and last but not least, I have another. And with this one, I want to test you about this webinar. Let's see. What about these guesses? What about your guesses? Sorry. What is okay, very good. Hook, pause, and reflect. And the answer? Hook, pause, and reflect. And the answer? Learning that sticks. Very good. Thank you, Anna. Very good. Fishing as pause time to think, to figure out what I have to do, then the idea will come up. Very good. Giving a hook stimulate thought in people. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Hooking a point and think about create something good in your mind. I love your answers, people. Focus, pause, and think. Very good. The result is learning. Yes, the result is learning. We can say that the result is meaningful learning, or the result is something that really we are enlightening. Yes, stepping out to refresh, mind focus in great learning and teaching. Thank you, Carolina. Okay, thank you for your answers. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, as you have said, this is hook, pause, and reflect, meaningful learning. And this is like the spirit of this webinar. Okay, now, this is another activity that you can do. with your students, and it's truth and a lie about the topic, and students really love this. They really love this, believe me. Today we are talking about social media. Which of these is a lie? And you have TikTok was launched in 2016. The average user spends 52 minutes per day on TikTok. Instagram was created before Facebook. So learners vote, and then you reveal the answer and start the lesson. What do you think about this? Any answer? Any guess? Okay. Okay. Yes, very good. Okay. A. Okay. C is a lie. Yes, C is a lie. Very good. Okay, thank you for your answers. Okay, so now it's the turn. Let's talk about breaks. So now we have the students who are motivated, and now we need to continue the class. And then while we are teaching the class, we need to make some breaks. Okay, what are brain breaks? Well, brain breaks are in a second. Brain breaks are short pauses during a lesson, and they are interesting and they are very important because they shift focus away from content. They really refresh attention and reduce overload. They boost mood and engagement. And something that is very interesting is that they can be physical, mental, social, or creative, and usually they last 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Sometimes we think, some teachers tend to think that when we use these brain breaks, or when we use breaks in the class, we are wasting time. But this is completely the opposite. Believe me, when we use brain breaks, just a joke, just a quick activity, then the brain really energizes it, and it's better for them to learn and to deal with the lesson. Okay, and they really let the brain breaks really let the brain reset, so learners come back ready to learn. Okay. So why do they matter? Because they prevent overload, and help consolidate learning. You know that brains operate in cycles of focus and rest, and this really depends on the age of the students. Simple physical activity increases blood flow and oxygen to the brain, improving concentration and memory. This is what Ray T. Spark said in 2028. And then short breaks with fun or laughter reduce stress hormones like cortisol and release dopamine, and this really enhances motivation and memory formation. So again, I will share with you some brain breaks that you can use with young learners and some brain breaks that you can use with adolescents and teens. And again, I will say the same. You can adjust this to your context, to the group of students you have, and perhaps some of the brain breaks for young learners can be adapted and be used with adolescents. So let's start. So something that you can do is to make animal moves. So for example, you can say to your students, stand up, be a frog, hop 3 times. Now you're a giraffe, you're a tall giraffe. Now you're a lazy cat. Yes, so this is really interesting. Kids really love doing this. Adolescents also like doing this. And you can also make this more engaging. For example, you can ask them to do this kind of freeze frames. So for example, when I say freeze, you need to hold your pose until I say go. So imagine that they are walking like a lazy cat. They are like lazy cat, but then you say freeze and they need to stop. So this is really more engaging and they love these kind of games. And this is just like 2-3 minutes, and then you continue with a class. And you're going to see how learning really sticks after using these poses. Something that you can also do, something that you can also do, sorry. Well, these things also happens. You can also do is you can tell students to call the names of the animals. So let 1 or 2 students pick the next animal. So they have the power, they have the authority of telling the animal, and they really love these too. So now, oh, Dios. Okay, so now we are going to work with brain breaks for teens. Yes, remember that, as I said before, you can adapt the brain breaks for the group of students you have. So look at this. Quick would you rather? Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button on your life? You need to stand on the left for rewind or right for pause. Yes, so they like this. So I think that you can implement it with a question that you have. Remember that the brain breaks can be related to the topic or to the topic of the lesson of the lesson you're teaching, or it can be something completely not related to the lesson. So it depends on you, it depends on the class. Another idea that you can implement with your students is to prepare desk yoga or stretches. This is really interesting because sometimes adolescents need to concentrate and to relax. So, for example, roll your shoulders, look up, look down, then reach the ceiling. Yes, and then you back to work. So this is like 20 seconds, and you really stop the class, stop the brain working, and then you continue with the class. So this is really, really interesting. This releases physical tension from sitting too. It boosts circulation and sends fresh oxygen to the brain. And of course, it calms nerves and refocuses attention. Tell me, have you ever practiced this with your students in class? Or do you do desk yoga or stretches in your class? This is something super easy that we can implement. I want to read the chat. Okay, yes, no, okay, always, very good, never did. Okay, some of you do this with students. Okay, okay, sleep 1 minute. I love this. Okay, yes, it's very interesting. I completely agree. I ask them to walk around or dance with music. Yes, they love this. They love this. Yes, very good. Thank you. Thank you. They sing a song and act out. Not really. Okay. Drink coffee. Okay. You stand up, sit down, laugh. Oh, I love your ideas. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for participating. Usually, maybe run or jump. Simon says, okay, now we are going to work with Simon says. Okay. Okay, so another thing that you can do is to do a brain teaser mini challenges. In 20 seconds, they need to write five things that are blue. Yes, or you can connect this to your class, right? If you want to, apart from pausing, you want them to make them remember something, or a quick memory challenge. So, for example, you show a picture for 10 seconds, you hide it, and then ask learners to list what they remember. Yes. So this is another thing that you can do, and we are going to try. Yes. So this is something I created with artificial intelligence, but you can also use artificial intelligence to create something related to your class, or you can use any image that you have, any poster, any you can use flashcards. Yes. So you can use any resource you have at hand. And I prepared something for you. Are you ready to try? Let's see. So I wanted to try, this is an image I have for you. So take some seconds, memorize what you can see here. What do we have? Yes. Can you see the image? Yes. Okay. So let's see. Of course, I created this with artificial intelligence. Okay. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, we can now, but it looks slightly different than before.
Okay, I don't know what happens.
Looks fine though.
Okay. Okay, so now let's see. I will change the slide. And I want to tell me in the chat which objects do you remember, and I want you to type them in the in a comment. Let's see. I want to read. Okay, let's see. Break, clock, book, apple. Try to remember special qualities of the things you have said. You have seen. Reflect, the word reflect, pencils. Oh my God. Brain, paper clips. Okay, happy faces. Oh, football, pencil, book. Okay, very good. Let's see. These are the things that appear in the image. Brain illustration, 2 soccer balls. Someone says this. Apple, open book. Very good. Okay, how many answers did you get? How many answers? Were you able to remember some of them? Yes, okay, pin, okay, about 5, okay, 5, 7, 5, 7, almost all, very good. Okay, 15, wow, this is great. 6, 5, 7, okay, very good. Okay, okay, now we are going to deal with the last part, with the last resource that we can implement in our creative lessons, and these are metacognitive strategies. Have you ever used metacognitive strategies with your students? Yes, okay, yes, okay, okay. So, okay, some yes, some no. Well, metacognitive strategies are techniques that help learners take control of their own learning process. They involve awareness, they involve monitoring, and they also involve evaluating and adjusting. Yes. So let's continue. Why metacognition or why metacognitive strategies matter? It matters because it builds independent, self-aware learners, autonomous learners, because they plan before the class, before the activity. They also monitor themselves what they are working. They can say, for example, well, this activity is not working okay, so I need to change it. And they can adjust in this way their own learning process. They manage their own learning process. They take control of their own learning process. They know what they can do and what they can't do to learn better. It deepens understanding and retention. When we help students be conscious of their own learning process, well, learning is different. They are aware of their memory, and everything moves from short-term memory to long-term memory. It really boosts achievement and resilience. And this, when students manage the strategies, the metacognitive strategies, then these strategies can be implemented in other studies. For example, if we are thinking about secondary school students, these strategies that we foster in secondary school strategy, well, then they can use it at university, for example. So metacognition really leads to higher performance and, of course, a growth mindset. Okay, okay, I see that Bignoli Lance Gaston says, I usually work with dictations and have students compare their productions with the source material and make any necessary corrections. Very good. In this way, they deepen their understanding of language. Yes, this is a great strategy. Okay, so we are going to work with metacognition in young learners and metacognition with for adolescents or teens and even adults. Of course, that all these strategies can be adjusted and can be used with any group of students. So let's see what you can do with young learners. First of all, you can work with emoji checking. So at the end of an activity, you show some emojis and you need to ask them which face shows how you feel about today's topic. But the thing is not just asking them this question to choose just one emoji. The most important thing is to ask them why they have chosen this emoji. Yes, what they can do to improve this emoji. Yes, to work with the feelings and emotions related to the face they have chosen. This is also important. Okay, another thing that you can do, and this is, for me, this is one of the of the strategies that is really, really important, especially for young learners, is the think aloud. Yes, we teachers need to help them to think aloud, because when we think aloud, when we model the process aloud, students are conscious of what they are doing. Yes, so imagine, for example, this word is tricky. You present a word and you say, this word is tricky. I'm going to break it into syllables to read it. So you are showing a strategy, yes? So they can then implement this in the future with another strategy, yes? So then, as I said, it is here, then students try and practice with another student, with another word, for example. Okay, and then we are going to work with metacognition in teens. Of course, that you can use the reflection sentence starters. I understood this part well because I got confused when, next time I'll try to. Yes, something important is that we teachers always, generally or usually, we use metacognition at the very end of the lesson, but I really want you to encourage you to use the use of metacognitive strategies throughout the lesson. You can use metacognition at the very beginning, for example, asking students a question about, okay, you need to deal with a text. What are you going to do with the text? How are you going to work with the text? So they know before going to the text what strategies they know they have to cope with this activity. So, for example, this I got confused when can be in the middle of the lesson plan, for example. So they manage, yes, their own learning process. And this is interesting. Next time I'll try too, because they recognize that the strategies they used were not the best, and they are going to use something different. Or perhaps the strategy really functioned, worked well for them, so they can continue using the same strategy. But with these activities, you help them be aware of the strategies they have. Okay, well, another can be the prediction pause. So before starting an exercise or any activity, you ask, how well do you think you will do on this? 1 to 5. And then they need to tell you why. Perhaps the activity is really connected to, I don't know, it can be related to a presentation. So some students can say can choose 1 because they don't like presenting in to other people, to the whole class, or perhaps they like, or perhaps they can tell you, okay, if the activity is a poster, they love writing and drawing, so perhaps they can have a 5 here. But the question why helps them be aware of the strategies. Yes, it's just a very easy question that can really help students a lot. Okay, then we have strategy sharing. Sometimes we don't know all the strategies, so when we ask students to share, they exchange the strategies, and some strategies can be interesting for other students. So look at this, at the end of an activity, at the end of an exam, at the end of any quiz that you present to students, you can ask, what did you do to remember that word? What did you do to solve this situation, to solve this problem? So probably they will reach the solution, the same solution, but using different strategies. And they are not aware of the different strategies. That's why this sharing is super, super important. And you help them to incorporate more strategies and to have a vast range of strategies available. Okay, this is something that I really like, and it's very easy to use. You can ask students to make the playlist of their learning. So at the end of a lesson, at the end of the week, at the end of a project, at the end of a semester, students need to create a playlist of 3 to 5 things that stood up in their learning, like their top hits. Yes, when I was an adolescent, we have 40 principales in music. Yes, so you can have something similar with your students. It can be grammar points, it can be pronunciation tips, it can be new words they have learned, it can be strategies they found helpful. Yes, and they make their playlist. Another activity, and some adolescents really like doing this and working with this. You can ask students, for example, if today's lesson were an Instagram story, what picture or short caption would you post? So they need to think about the picture, and then apart from that, they need to think about the caption. And by doing this, they are remembering the most important topics of the lesson. Yes, so they are engaging in meaningful content. Yeah. Okay, they can even sketch it on a post-it or on the board. Yes, it depends on the school. It depends on your context. I know that in some schools you can use social media, but some schools do have access to social media, so it depends on your educational context. And then you can have emoji mapping. Yes, this is another activity. You need to give them a page with a few faces. You can choose the faces, or you can have different animals. It depends. Yes, you can be very creative here. And they need to circle the, oh, sorry. Again, the same happened. Oh. Okay, and they need to circle the emoji that best represents the lesson, and they need to say, okay, how you felt at the start, choose an emoji. Then what about in the middle? And then what about at the end of the lesson? So they start being aware how the class was for them. Okay, so now I want to share with you some easy metacognitive questions you can have at hand, and you can use at any level. Yes, so you can have like a list of questions that you can implement. I will share some. So these are easy questions that you can have, you can use with any group of students. So before, during, and after, I divide this into before, during, and after. So before, what do I already know about this? Then in the middle, you can ask, does this make sense? And then after that, what did I learn? Or you can have, what's my goal? So I have to do this activity. What's my goal in this activity? Should I slow down or try another way? Because sometimes we are working and we don't know that this is not functioning, working, so we can try another way to solve the situation. What will I do differently next time? Yeah. How will I tackle this? Before, for during, am I getting stuck? Why? And then at the very end, how could I explain this to someone else? Okay. And oh my God. And as an exit ticket, and I want you to participate now in the Zoom chat. I wanted to tell you one thing that hooked your attention today. Then I want one brain break that you are going to try with your students, and then one way you will help your students' reflection. So let's see. I want to read your answers in the Zoom chat. Great tool to keep them focused. Yes. Oh, yes. The QWL chart. Yes, I use it a lot. Yes, thank you. Okay, emoji story. I will try it with my students. Very good. The brain breakers. Thank you. Two truth and a lie. Yes, this is a very easy strategy, and we can do it with any activity, with any text that we have. Okay, real stories, the memes, very good. Okay, emojis, yes, the story, yes, the story with emojis, right? Okay, emojis. Oh, it's so quick. Provocative, true or false, the death yoga, right? The brain teasers, the metacognitive, the emoji idea is mind-blowing. Yes, thank you. The memory game, emojis, meme, the playlist, the Instagram picture, thumbs up, very good. Okay, emoji stories. Okay, thank you. Okay, Many answers. Caption for Instagram idea. Okay. Memory games. Oh, the one related to the Instagram post. Yes. Oh, you can also adjust it to TikTok because it depends on the age students have. If you're working more, if you're working with adults, probably you're going to use Instagram, and if you work with adolescents, probably they like TikTok more. Okay. Okay. Okay, and okay, we are reaching the end of the session, and I want to finish with this idea that I have. I think that we teachers, if we make small shifts today, we are going to have strong thinkers tomorrow. And we need to hook curiosity, we need to refresh minds, we need to foster reflection. And I think that this is the key nowadays in the era of AI. Because this is a world that it is full of information. So our role as teachers is not just simply to help learners know more and give them more content. It is to help them think more deeply, think to what they're going to do with what AI gives them, for example. So we need to remember that we are shaping minds, we are shaping futures, people. So thank you. It was an honor for me to be here to share in these studies because this is my field of study. So if you want to find me, you can find me in Instagram at Eugenia Ianiro, or you can find me in LinkedIn, María Eugenia Ianiro. Thank you a lot for being here, and I'm very happy to have such an active audience. So I'm very super happy of this session. So thank you, people.
Thank you so much, Maria Eugenia. That was a great session. People participated a lot. I can still see the thank yous and the hearts. We had a lot of questions, but we are a bit short for time. So I'm going to ask you to speak a little bit about just one question. I actually gathered a lot that were very similar.
Okay.
There were a few questions about, let me see, how can I phrase them together? That was a question about how often we should use brain breaks in 1 hour lessons. And also one asking if you said young students takes 15 minutes before stop paying attention, how many breaks in a class should we use? So since those are similar, I'll ask you to speak a little bit about those two.
Okay, it depends on the lesson, it depends on the group of students. I think that every 15 minutes we can use a brain break. Of course, that if we are teaching adults, perhaps every 30-40 minutes, we need to make a pause. We need to ask students to, okay, can you see me? Yes. You can make a pause if you're working with adolescents or with young learners, perhaps every 10-15 minutes if you're working with the young learners, or every 20-30 minutes after if you're working with adolescents. So it depends on your group of students. It depends also on the number of students, because if your class is 30 students, 40 students, perhaps you need to choose different brain breaks. So it depends on your context. But we need to remember that the attention span that we have is more or less 40 minutes. So after 40 minutes, we need heuristics of your educational context and your groups of students too. For example, if you have some students who are really active, so perhaps the brain breaks or the activities that you need to prepare for them needs to be those more related to the yoga ones. So you need to make them relax so then they can continue with the activities. So yes.
Well, thank you again, Maria Eugenia. We had more questions, but I think we should end for here for now. Thanks everyone for the participation. I saw a lot of the comments.
Yes.
soon in the next session.
So perhaps what we can tell the audience is that I'm going to be next week in Facebook Live. So if they have more questions, they can participate in the Facebook Live. It's next Friday, June the 19th. So I can answer all the questions that we have in the chat. And if you have more questions, you can contact me via Instagram or LinkedIn, or you can be present in the Facebook Live, and we can be answering all the questions.
Thanks again, Maria Eugenia. The
Thank you.
information for the webinar for next week is on the screen. We will be back in 10 minutes, I think, for the next webinar, Building Learner Autonomy in Multi-Level Classrooms. So see you on soon. Thanks, everyone. Bye.